Good evening, everyone. Well, here it is good evening in India, and it has always been a pleasure, a privilege to host these webinars for our dear children, our parents, and staff. So, without taking much ado, I would like to start with today's webinar. And you have always known that modern school has been nurturing its students to attain greater heights as far as profession and personal sphere is concerned. We are delighted to introduce Ms. Rashmi Badhwar, a proprietor of Blissful Holistic Being Inc. She is renowned and a certified life coach and mentor currently based in Toronto, Canada. She has been assisting individuals and groups to discover the true potential through various modalities for wellness and wholeness. Ms. Rashmi will be in conversation with us on our session today, where she will be telling you on how to understand the role that energy, frequency, vibration, and word power play in creating your own reality. So, without taking much delay, I would like to now pass on the stage to Ms. Rashmi.
Thanks, Dharna. That was amazing. It's a privilege to be able to talk to you and the students and parents of modern school. Thank you for reaching out. And it's a topic really dear to me. I over a period of time, I figured that every little thing that we do in terms of speech, in terms of behavior, in terms of emotion, plays a great role in bringing together and creating the perfect life that we want, and especially the power of word, because it just has a perception quality and it has a vibration, and how we use it. And the most important bit about the power of word is the language that we speak to ourselves. So for instance, in a day, we've got like these millions of thoughts per person. And each of those thoughts is almost like a repetitive thought on a daily basis. 98% of the thoughts that we have are repetitive. And 96% of those repetitive thoughts are negative thoughts. So they are like, they are so in the work that I do, the energy, frequency, and vibrational work that I do, you understand. So we call it ANT, ants. So in short, so it's called automatic negative thought syndrome. So if you just imagine, and the short form, of course, becomes ants. So imagine all these ants crawling in our head with the thought, which is exactly the language that we speak to ourselves. Because whether we are in conversation physically with someone or not, we are constantly in a chatter within ourselves. So every thought that we speak to ourselves has a vibration, has a frequency. So for instance, everybody could try, if we just take our hands together and really rub them, close enough, we are all walking bundles of energy. Now just try it. So close your eyes and really rub your hands together. Everyone could try.
We want you to do this because this
Yeah,
is good
so
exercise.
try this. Okay, nicely rub. And do it for a few seconds, and then close your eyes and then just separate a little bit. And just visualize a ball of energy between your palms. Just close your eyes and feel what you feel. There is a sensation, there is a feeling that comes through, So if you just bring it closer, and you can try this in your own time later. So as you rub, you see, you create energy between, how it is. For instance, when you knock your knee by mistake on a table, what is the first thing that you do? You touch it and you scream, right? Because you've got hurt. So body is very intelligent. It holds the power to heal, and our hands automatically go and touch that space because there is a transition of energy. So our hands transfer the healing energy. So the body knows, why don't we touch our foot or our elbow to that spot? We just automatically go and touch it. Ouch, right? That's what we do. If we get hurt here, we say, ouch. So we touch it. So we are all just walking bundles of energy, and how we speak, how we behave, and how we navigate through this energy it becomes really important because it gives you a toolkit of your own. So when you're sitting for an exam, for instance, and you're worried and you're sort of going, oh my God, what am I going to do? At that time, if you just take in a few deep breaths and you figure out that it's your energy at play, it's a thought that has gone to your head, which is causing the stress. So stress is not in what you're doing. Stress is actually from the fear. So what happens? What is stress? It's the root of every stress is fear. And what is fear? Fear is an anticipation of a negative outcome. That's all it is, right? If you're studying for an exam and we say, oh my God, why? Because we are worried that we might not get the result that we want. So what have we done? We have transferred our energy into something on the outside which has not yet happened. But we have brought it into our present. So that then interferes in the flow of energy. So in the Indian system, in our chakra system, we've got the balanced energy. So we've got each spot, we've got a little powerhouse running through our body. And any thought that interferes with it, spoils the flow of the energy. It goes imbalance. And that's what causes dis-ease. So disease is nothing but a dis-ease of everything. So it becomes really important how we balance our field. So we have an energy field around us and we have an energy field within us, and we interact with each other. So did you know that our energy field in physics, quantum physics, for instance, spreads about 20 feet around us? And yours does and mine does. So what happens is that our fields talk first. So has it ever happened with anybody where you have walked into a place for the first time ever in your life, and you walk in and you say, this is beautiful, I can live here for the rest of my life? You've never been there. So what has happened is that field has a vibration. So it's like if I was like a radio, okay, and I put it on and I tune into a station 104.1, right? And somebody on the other side also has the radio. Their radio tunes into 101.5. So then there is static. It's not playing correctly. So our energy is not talking to each other. So you find a difference. But the moment you connect immediately, the music plays beautifully. So that's what we are. Whatever we speak, whatever we say, we send out a vibration, which is a frequency, which is then received. It's like we are like walking radios, and we're just not aware, and the energy and the field is all around us, but we are not aware that it exists. So once you become aware that it exists, it improves our relationship, it improves our levels of emotion, it improves our power to create the life that we want, because now we have become more powerful than ever, because we understand that there is a play beyond the physical body. But in physics, and a lot of tests have been done, and as we go forward, we'll discuss, and I'll show you a few slides as to what happens when you say something to somebody, and we'll get in detail of the power of how to use the word.
So that was in itself an amazing warm-up exercise, because, for a moment we actually did feel like that energy was in our palm, right? So, Rashmi, just tell us about yourself and your journey to becoming a life coach and a mentor.
So it was quite incidental, actually. I didn't plan it. Okay, so I, studied, and like everybody, we had dreams. We wanted to become, big something in a corporate world, very ambitious and everything, till you hit a point. So my life, I hit a point where, everything was a chaos. And this I'm telling you about 20 years ago. So everything was very chaotic. Emotionally, I felt down. physically I wasn't too well, financial issues, which everybody has all the time. But at that one point in my life, all the areas of my life looked, uh, as though there was no hope. And then I just got introduced to something basic like a meditation. And once I started with that, after that, it just one thing leads to the other, because then you start to allow life to serve you instead of controlling. We control nothing. We can't control. Even if we try, we can't control it. So once you start to understand that you control nothing except yourself. So nobody listens to nobody, right? So I figured that out. I said, I can change a relationship just by my participation. I don't need two people to amend it, you see? So that's what happened. And that's how I got into Reiki. I got into hypnotherapy and pranic healing and chanting. And so, I've read a lot of books, I've traveled. So I traveled across. I went to Singapore to do my 20 days hypnotherapy sessions and learning and everything. And and it made a huge difference in my life. It turned completely. So not everybody is inclined to go and do 100 courses and 100 workshops. So I created a toolkit of my own. And because it was so beneficial, I just thought that it's worth sharing, whoever takes whatever from it. So that's how my journey started. And here I am. So I turned into this. So I use it where I need to use a knife. I will not use an axe. It's become like that. And I'd love to share the tools because it's so helpful. It helped me. So I use what helped me.
Absolutely, yes. So why did you choose this specific area of holistic well-being as your expertise?
You see, it's all about mind, body, soul, and spirit. Okay. So schools take on education, but that's very academic. That's very book based. And I don't blame them because, there are exams and there are degrees and there is everything that needs to be done. And this aspect, the emotional well being and the holistic well being. So we get into religion, but we don't understand energy. We get into studies, but we don't understand. So, there is information and there is too much information these days. Anybody can Google anything. So I figured that if I gave a balanced approach, because to find a balance, you cannot focus on just one area. You have to bring in the soul, you have to bring in the spirit, you have to understand what vibration is. And there is a lot of scientific work being done on vibration and how we communicate, how the frequency. I mean, it's all very good to imagine if you were a walking radio and a transistor. What all are you picking up? Because there is always waves in the air, right? You are picking up. So what happens sometimes when you're sitting and somebody calls and you say, "Oh my God, I was just thinking of you." So what happens there? So energy follows thought, and energy is not bound by time, space, limitations. So I can actually communicate with you just by the power of my thought. And that's not magic, and that's not woo-woo, and that's not black magic or any of that. That's just how energy works. I think of
Exactly, because most
something
of the
and
time
here it happens.
people get confused because they believe that, oh, she's talking about vibration, the energy field. So some people may take it to be very technical, something like extremely scientific. The other people obviously lead it to the occult sciences, something which is related to magic.
Right. Okay. So now when we did that exercise, right? So we are all walking bundles of energy, correct? Because we have energy. The food we eat, the water we have, the air we breathe, it's all got energy, right? Because without one, it won't work. So occult science is completely different, which is where they sort of, they do all kinds of tricks and things like that just to gain power. But what I do, I just help you to understand that there is another aspect of us. For instance, when we speak, right? So there are two parts to speech. One would be when you're speaking, there is a perception. So for instance, if I said, "Oh my God, you're selfish," right? Now that word selfish has a perception. We all have been brought up, there is a belief system where we believe, oh, selfish is not good. correct? There's a perception. So there is an energy, there's a vibration to that word. But if on the other side, if you tell your child that, uh, look after yourself first before you can look after somebody else, it's the same thing as selfish,
Yeah.
correct? So the perception of the two things is so different. And so it holds an energy, it carries a vibration, that word, because everybody's thinking of that. So when you talk of occult, etc., do you know when you say, use the word abracadabra,
Yeah.
okay? The root of the word is I create as I speak. So
Wonderful.
it's very good. The magician says, "Oh, abracadabra," and then we don't think about it. But it's a Aramaic root, and it actually means we create as we speak. So you have so much power in you. So in speech, okay, we do chanting, we say mantras, right? What happens there? What is happening there? It's not like there's someone sitting who's listening to that. What are you doing? You are manipulating sound.
True.
You see, when you say, so when they say, okay, if you're chanting, say it correctly. You're saying the Gayatri mantra, you have to say it in a particular manner. You're chanting a Buddhist, chant. You have to say it in a particular manner. And it's all got syllables, you see. Nam yo ho range kyu. So
Yeah.
now, biologically, you know what you're doing is your tongue touches your palate, right?
Yes.
And the palate is connected to all the nerves and the nervous system and the vagus nerve in our brain. So when we hit the tongue on our palate, it actually gets connected. It gets connected and it activates certain parts of our brain, the nerves, right? So if you were to close your eyes and if you think your palate in the mouth was a keyboard
Wow.
and your tongue is your finger. So as you speak, you start to activate, and as you activate, you start to create because it's got energy.
Yes, absolutely. And when you exactly do this sound exercise of speaking words using the tongue and the palate, at that point of time, you certainly feel that there is a vibration that's going on around your head and your senses are through the roof.
Exactly, because then you suddenly become aware of the sixth or the seventh sense, right? Which, as we are born, the belief system and the environment, okay, it asks you to shut it because it doesn't serve, because of fear, because of whatever, because of upbringing, because of our system. So, the child wakes up and says, "Oh my God, I was playing with imaginary friends." And you say, "Oh, there are no imaginary friends, forget about it." So we shut it down the moment we are born. But energy continues to exist.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And like you
So if
mentioned, the frequency, vibration, and the power of, the force field around you. It's a very unique concept. Tell us more about it.
okay, so for instance, so I was telling you that food is energy, water is energy. I'd like to tell you what our thoughts and speech can actually transfers into the food, into the water, into whatever we take in. So there was a Japanese scientist called Masaru Emoto. He did huge amount of work on checking what happens to the water crystals when he communicates with them. Okay. And he did it all under scientific guidance in the laboratory. Okay. And he picked up different particles of water from different water bodies around the world. And he took them back to his laboratory and he froze them. And under this huge microscope, and I'll show you, I have a few pictures, I'll show you. So he sent intention and he spoke. Okay. So he sent, so when they say, "Oh, bless you," or "I love you," or "I hate you," so he took the same water body and he put two crystals and he gave them a different speech. And then he reviewed them under the microscope. So if we could just bring up the two, I have three slides. So look at them. And those are water crystals. So you see when he speaks to them, "I love you," what happens to the shape? And when he says, I hate you to them, and all under observation and everything, he's written many books. There's a movie as well on this, if somebody would like to watch it. It's called Secret Life of Water. So could we just bring up the slides? And if you look at these, okay, if you can just pause there, Mohit, one moment, thank you. So this is, if you look at the top, so when he sends of compassion, the emotion of compassion and intention, and he says thank you, and he says wisdom, okay? So all of these are water crystals, frozen and photographed in laboratory conditions. And then if you see the last two, below it says water before and after the Buddhist prayer. So it's the same body of water. Before the prayers, it looked like this, the right bottom picture. And the one above that is after the prayers. And heavy metal, what kind of waves it creates. So he put them in that environment, right? Okay.
It's quite amazing. Quite
Yeah.
amazing. It's like water is talking to you.
Exactly. So water is live, right? It's a living thing. It's living, as is our food. And that's how we get our energy, right? So if you could see the next one, Mohit. Yeah, that one. Look at that. So when you send the energy of hate, when you say, I hate you, I don't like you, I dislike you, this is what water does to itself. And that is what we take. And then thank you, and look at the beautiful crystals which form with the intention, the power of word, what we say to it.
So exactly, you're transforming your energy through your expressions. If you have said, let's say, I hate you, there is a change in the water crystal. Then when you
Exactly.
said thank you, the crystal formed into something beautiful. And finally, in its most beautiful form, when you said, I love you.
Exactly.
Wow.
And then we drink this water, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks, Mohit. Thank you for this. So what happens now, especially in our Indian culture, don't they say, oh, put the water, say a little prayer in the water, and water we use in our prayers when we go to the temple and everything. So water is a live energy. Now, our body is 90% water. Okay, so if we are talking to ourselves, if we are saying thank you to ourselves, if we are giving love to each other, that water within our body is actually behaving the way these crystals are behaving.
So you are basically saying that it is energy which plays the most significant role of transferring your expressions into various objects, living, non-living, everything, right?
Everything, yes.
Right. So we have a question from one of our students who's asked, can we control our own energy, be it positive or negative?
Yes, you can. And how do you do that? There are so many tools. You start breathing, you breathe in. So when you breathe in, right? So for example, you want to control your energy as to where it's going. So what we do is we react. Okay. So somebody says you get fired from a teacher gets upset with you, for instance, right? And what she has reacted to something that you did, and you suddenly, your first reaction is you get upset or you throw something or you get angry. So the word reaction, so this is where I'll bring in power of word and energy combination, right? Your first thing you would do is you will react. So reaction, if you just break that word, reaction. Is it possible, Mohit, to bring that image, that little slide where I've said reaction?
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Thank that one. Okay. So if I've just written it, so you know it's visual and we can see it. So it says reaction, and you break that word, it is repeating the same action. Okay. And then, thanks, Mohit. And then what happens is that then we go into a role, and then it's a dominoes effect. Because we react, we repeat the same action, we get the same response from the person who's across us, because now we are sending the vibration of anger, right, in the field. So the field. So what happens when one person is yawning and everybody in the room starts to yawn? Because what is the job of energy? energy is always looking to balance. It is always looking to balance. So if you are vibrating, if your energy field from a scale, let's say a 1 to 10, is at 10, right? And somebody is at a level of 4, they are going to feel very good talking to you because they are going to draw energy from your field because you are positive right now. And you will give them some and you will balance. So if you were to put 4 grandfather clocks on the wall with pendulums, right? On the same wall, and you swung the pendulums in different directions. In about 5 minutes, they will all synchronize, they will start moving together.
Absolutely.
So that's what energy does. It's always looking to balance. So when we are walking in a field, okay, and we have an energy field, and the other person has an energy field, it will always look to balance. One will come up, one will go down. So going back to the question, can we control it? Yes, you can, by your thoughts, by how you speak to yourself. But so instead of reaction, you go into response. And in response, you just take 4 deep breaths and then say, how can I respond to this instead of reacting to this? I don't want to repeat this action.
So there is another very interesting question that has been shared with one of our participants here. And this question is in connection with the previous question that I had asked. That was, can we control our own energy, whether it is positive or negative? This question is like, she's written, we all know that we have a so-called monkey mind who loves to gossip and especially think negative thoughts. How to stop these negative thoughts from coming constantly and how to come back in your awareness mode?
Okay. So what happens? So this is automatic negative thoughts, which I'd spoken about earlier. So ants are crawling, right? All you have to do is sit down for 5 minutes. So what happens is, what is meditation? Now, the mind's job is thoughts and to think, okay? To say that we will stop the thought process is fooling ourselves because it will continue to do what it's meant to do, right? It will think. So how to go about this? So I'll give you a little technique. What happens is, for example, I say I have to go to the supermarket to buy bread. Okay, that's one thought, correct? But whilst we are sitting, what we do is we say, oh, now that I'm going to go and get the bread, I might as well buy some eggs and I'll buy some milk. And then maybe next week I'll need some, some cheese. So I'll get the cheese. And so what happens, we take that one thought and we make a shopping list of that thought. And if that start thought is negative, we have a negative shopping list because we have started the roll, because the dominoes effect has started. So what I would say is sit in silence for 5 minutes, take 5 deep breaths, and literally like yoga breaths. So when you breathe in, you expand your stomach and take the breath all the way down to your belly button. We all breathe really short just to survive. So, so how many of you just notice, are your teeth clenched?
Mm.
Your jaw is clenched, right? So what you do is you just take a breath and release your jaws. That will automatically allow more oxygen to come in. So we are always tense, right? Because when we are sitting, our teeth are together. So ease your forehead, relax your jaw, and take a good deep breath. And then observe the thought. You said this thought. So for example, give me a negative thought that comes in your life when you're studying or whatever. Dharna, you're a teacher.
I am tired.
Tired. I am tired. Now, and then you'll say, oh my God, I have to cook and I have to talk to 20 students and I have to speak to 50 parents and I have to do this. So one thought came, you're tired, which is a fact. That thought will come because you are tired. But what you did was you made a full list, and by the end of 20 things, you feel sorry for yourself. Say, what a life do I have, right? So you take that first thought. So take a deep breath, unclench. So relax your forehead, unclench your jaw, take good deep breath and say, this is a thought that has come. It is meant to come. I will deal with it later because right now I need to finish my math homework, for instance. Okay. So this thought has come, that whatever the thought is that I'm tired, I will deal with it later. Let's come back to what I'm doing. So it's an exercise that you have to do every single day, every minute of the day. You have to just become aware of your thoughts. And you say, I will deal with my tiredness later. Right now, let me do this. Let me not make a shopping list of this thing which has come. And then you come back and then allow for the next thought to come. You see? So they are thoughts, they will come. You cannot stop them. So let them come, but let them go.
Absolutely.
Don't hold on. Don't hold on, because if you hold on, you will not be able to do anything else.
Absolutely.
You will just go on and on and on and just get tired. So that's how you start the process of allowing the monkey to jump. You can't control the monkey. The monkey will jump, but you can just watch it and say, okay, I'll deal with you later. The next monkey will come, and then the next, and then the next. And then you keep going and you come right back to what you're doing. Focus on this minute, because this is the only reality. If you're doing something right now, it needs to be finished right now. So you just let go. You say, okay, that's the next monkey, and make it fun. Literally transform that thought into a shape of a monkey or a donkey. I don't care. But make it fun. So it becomes a game. Say, I put away 30 monkeys today off the tree. Just make it fun. It's not serious.
It is, it is. And when you have spoken about, training the monkey to become something else, the current times have been unexpected and unprecedented. It has never happened before. The children have had a lot to deal with in terms of stress, in terms of anxiety, the negativity that has come into their lives. So, how will you suggest that they overcome these, emotions, these negative emotions, the anxiety?
Anxiety, again, see, there are 5 basic things that lead to anxiety. One is fear, one is worry, one is low self-esteem, when we feel that we are not good enough for anything. Okay, then there's anger, and there is this thing that I will not, that is fear of judgment. Okay, so when the stress comes, you just have to make positive statements for yourself. So when you speak, remember what you're saying to yourself becomes most important. So for that, I normally tell everyone to make affirmations, positive sounding statements, which is you keep saying. So say, I'm good enough, my life is wonderful, I'm doing well, and I am enough, I matter. Each one matters. What happens? We get into this whole rigmarole of what is somebody else thinking about us. This one is better than that one. The competition brings us down, and all of those brings us down. So we just need to start focusing on breathing, focusing on our thoughts, letting them go, and putting ourselves in a position where we know that we can deal with whatever comes. The rest we don't control, right? But what is happening is what I'll control. What can I do in this time frame? I can't go to school. There's a lot of pressure. I don't like going to school, but you don't have a choice. You're still in school. You're still at home, right? Because of the circumstances. So are you going to become the driver of your car, or are you going to let somebody else drive your car? So sit at the wheel and say, I'm going to drive my car, good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's an old car or a new car. It doesn't matter. But I can do it. I can think it. I control me. I'm not going to be a puppet. So for instance, circumstances, if I told you, for instance, Dharna, that, oh my God, your hair looks terrible, right? And now there are 3 things you can do, 3 ways you can respond to that. Either you'll get really upset with me and you say, has she seen her hair? Okay. Or you will say, oh my God, yeah, I had to shampoo and I couldn't shampoo in time. You'll start making excuses. Okay. Or you'll say nothing and you'll go back to your zone and you'll feel really bad and you'll cry. Correct?
Absolutely.
Now, if I see you after a day and I say, oh my God, Dharna, you look lovely, you love it. So one day I made you feel bad by saying something about your hair. The next day I made you feel good by saying you look lovely, right?
Mm.
You have become then a puppet because I control how I make you feel,
Absolutely.
right? So today I want
Basically,
Dharna.
you drive the car now.
Exactly. So today I say, okay, I'll make Dharna feel bad. So I will move this puppet string. And today I'll make her feel good. So I'll move this puppet string. So I want you to take your own strings in your own hand and say, I have decided to feel good today, no matter what. And the negative thought comes and you say, no, I can deal with this. I'm going to be driving my own car and I'm going to feel good as best as I can.
Absolutely. So, another interesting question there it is, does law of attraction really work? And this question has been asked by Satyam Yadav, and that's quite an interesting and unique question.
Okay, I could talk on this for about 5 hours, but yes, it does work. There are two parts to law of attraction. People read the book, The Secret, and they
Mm.
say, oh my God, nothing's working, so it's rubbish and whatever, but it works. So there are two parts to it. One is being in alignment, and one is the desire and what you want from your life, what you really want. So, what is alignment? Alignment is basically being in balance within ourselves. So, once you're aligned, you feel good. Okay. So, let's say if you were a computer, your hardware worked just fine. Your speed was fine, there were no bugs, everything was fine, you were fine. So, one is your part. You have to be responsible for your alignment. Okay. The other part is that of desire. What is it that you want? So there are levels of feeling in alignment. We don't always 100% feel top of the world, and we don't always 100% feel really low. Okay. So you could feel, let's say, at a point of struggle. Okay. From struggle, you could feel at a point of relief. Then from relief, there is satisfaction, and from satisfaction, there is bliss. So there are 4, 5 levels of self alignment. So try and vibrate the magic. The sweet spot is between satisfaction and bliss. So if you are in the mode, if you feel it's not going to work, it's not going to work. I mean, that's what thought does. It is so powerful that it actually can create your fears and your joys. Because universe does not differentiate between good or bad. Its only job is to give you what you want. Okay, so when you are vibrating in fear, your fear is way higher than your desire to be feeling joyous, because fear is natural emotion. It comes very naturally and it's very powerful. Okay, so you could lie to yourself that I'm feeling good, but actually I am in fear. Universe will not listen to the words. It only listens to your frequency of that emotion. So you
Wow.
need to really bring it in yourself, and it does work. And I'd like you to try. I mean, there are various things you could try with it. Just go into your zone. And I mean, it's a full course actually. It's a 2-day workshop that I do on this. You come into the zone and you sit down and you start to vibrate there, and you see magic happen. So I mean, here on this forum, all I can say is pick up something really small, something
Right.
that you really want, like a chocolate or something really, really small, and start to work with it. Desire it, leave it, feel good about it first. Really bring it in your being, then desire it, and then just let it go and say, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. And then just see. So start experimenting with small things, nothing big, but start experimenting. And but to go back to the question, it always works. We just need to know how to imbibe it, how to put it together, and it works.
It's like what
It
you
does.
think is what you attract.
Yes. And what you think is what you create.
Absolutely. Very well said. Very well said.
Whatever is happening outside of your life is a mirror image of what is happening inside of you. So the change has to come from inside out, not from outside in. We want to change the whole world for things to change for us. But all we need to do is bring the change from us, and outside will change.
Absolutely. And in that continuity, there is a question which says from one of the participants here, and that should allow me to tell that children and the parents who are watching this session right now, if you have any question, any query, please feel free to leave it on the chat box here. Otherwise, you have been given the numbers in the template, so you can send your queries on those numbers, and we will address them. Right? So how to learn self-control, how to, control your own thoughts with yourself, and how to develop your, emotional quotient, EQ.
Okay. So first and foremost, control is a very misleading term. Okay. If a thought comes, it will come. We don't want to control anything. We want to learn how to navigate through it, right? When you want to control, then if you can't control it, it brings another issue of failure, right? Because you'd say, I did this and I couldn't do it, so I failed. Okay. So let's not try to control anything in life. Let's learn how to go through it, right? It's a winding road. So let's do that. So don't try to control any of your thoughts. Just become aware. Become aware of what the thought is, and then make a choice. Say, is this thought serving me right now? Right now. Then you say, if it isn't serving you, say, okay, you have come. We don't want to run away from it either, because it's the truth. That thought which has come, nobody needs to judge it. It is our thought. It is our personal thought which has come. So let's not judge it. Let's not run away from it. Let's acknowledge it, that it is present. I'm not going to run from it. Bring it in and leave it on the side, and then ask yourself a question: is it serving me right now? If the answer is no, say, I'll put it away. Make a little journal. I recommend to everybody, get a little book or a notebook or whatever, make a journal and start writing. Start writing these thoughts and make a little section for negative thoughts. And what did you do to change that? Say, I acknowledged it and it didn't serve me. So I said, I will come back to you later. And you can always go to that thought later, right? And say, does it still serve me? It will. If it doesn't, then say, I'm wasting my time. Even trying to control it, right? But it's not serving me. This thought doesn't help me. So I'm going to just let it go and bring that practice in. It has to be done on a daily basis. It is not something that you do, you slaughter time. It is about living your life with that. And the moment we start doing that, the emotional quotient goes up. So I work very high in the emotional intelligence field. What is it? You know, when there is a thought, when I said it has an energy and a vibration. If it brings fear, we will take it in and we'll block it somewhere. It gets blocked as an energy spot in our body until we release it. And nobody knows how to release it. And if it sits as a spot, it leads to dis-ease. So when I do Reiki and when we do pranic healing, when we work with the energy, we actually can feel that the spot is there. And sometimes that energy we carry right through our lives for 60 years, for 70 years, and those then become into illnesses. So a body is like a glass, okay? It's a cup. One thought comes, we put it in. Another thought comes, we put it in. Another. And then comes a point where the cup is full and it's overflowing. Okay. So when we do all of these energy work and observe and put it away, we have to take the cup and empty it. If we don't empty it, what happens is it reaches the top. So our body has filled up. So 50 years, 30 years, 20 years, all the negative thoughts we are filling up. We're just packing it up. And then comes a time when there is no space left in the cup. And then it needs to come out. And how does it come out? It comes out in illness. because it needs an out. So you'll get a rash, your teeth will hurt, you'll get, I don't know, some kind of heart problem, diabetes. Every illness has an emotional root. Every illness is linked to an emotion. So, sometimes when you're really worried, you're going for an exam, or you're really scared, or or you watch something in the news which makes you feel really bad. Don't you just touch your stomach and you say, oh my God, I feel sick in the stomach? You feel physically sick because you've absorbed the energy there, and you actually can feel physically sick. So the moment you become aware of your emotions, the moment you start working through them, you start to change your life in an instant. It happens magically. Just bring it in your awareness that emotions are so important. That's how you can raise your emotional quotient. Something comes in and you feel anger. Just sit and say, okay, where do I feel the anger? And you can touch anywhere in the body, okay? I feel the anger here. You say, okay, that means for you, it's probably got stored here. And then you just release it. You say, okay, I'm not going to block it. I'm going to let it go. Anger has visited me. I've got it in my body, but I'm going to now release it. And how do you release it? By affirmations. I am well. I am not holding on to any emotions that don't serve me, and I'm releasing it. And you can make your own affirmations. There's a beautiful link on YouTube. We can share it later, and I'll tell you. And that's powerful affirmations, the power statements that we make to ourselves. So self-communication.
So, having said that, I have query from Akshita again, and she's asked, "Ma'am, I would like to know that how can we concentrate on our work, particularly academics and the thoughts which distract our mind? How can we refrain from that and focus on academics?"
Okay, great question, Akshata. So what you do is you sit. So let's say you have to study. You sit with your personal journal, okay, and you sit with your books, the one that you have to study, okay, and you put a little clock. 5 minutes, okay. I'm just going to do this particular work. I'm going to bring all my concentration into this one question. So I say it's a 2-minute rule. It's a 2-minute rule because mind will take you. Mind will take you everywhere. So 2-minute rule, say for the next 2 minutes, anything that happens, I'm going to just write. If a thought comes which is not related to what I'm doing right now, I'm going to just note it in my journal on the side. But for the next 2 minutes, I'm just going to only focus on this, what I'm doing, my academics. 2 minutes. Set your timer. Everybody's got mobile phones. Everybody's got timers. Everybody's got all of that available. So set the timer. Put it for 2 minutes. And then just make sure that with those 2 minutes, you do not take your focus away from anything. So do it 2 minutes at a time. And once you can master 2 minutes, you can master 20, you can master 20 hours. That's how you build your concentration. Small steps, but for sure steps. 2 minutes is nothing in your whole day, you can. And if a thought comes, you say, okay, a thought came, I was thinking about, I don't know, what XYZ will say about my dress. You put that down and say, deal with it later. It is not serving me now. Right now, and start those 2 minutes again. And you just bring everything, you breathe into your work. So you take 5 deep breaths all the way to your stomach, unclench your jaws, relax. The first trick is to relax, put the timer in and go for it. 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever works for you. You set your own bar. There is no hard, I just call it the 2-minute rule, but every one of you can set your own bars. 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 20 minutes, depends. And that's how you'll build it. So today you manage, all day you manage 2 minutes. Tomorrow you raise your own bar because you're not competing with anybody. Life is not about a competition. It is about collaboration.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, there's another query which is somewhat branched out of this question itself, and that's by Shravani. How can you distance yourself from someone very dear to you, but who's very negative and might affect my own energy?
Fabulous question. I am so glad you asked that because, yes, what is energy doing? It is attacking. And so, if this person is of power, okay, so I don't know who this person she's talking about, it may be general. If this person sits in the position of power, okay, you need to grow your energy and become big. So, this is a great technique. Please try it, okay? So, sit, take a deep breath, okay? And then just visualize that you are growing your field 5 times your height and 5 times the width. Encompass, so become so big in your field. So nobody can then come through. They will not be able to break the barrier because you've grown so much in your field. You grow your field. You become amazing. It's very powerful. And if it's a personal conversation that is happening, okay, and somebody is being nasty to you, so I want to tell you that so I'll just show you. So we, this is the solar plexus, right? This area. This is our solar plexus here, okay? So we absorb energy at the solar plexus point. Okay, so let's say somebody of power or friend or somebody, and you're having a heated argument or a conversation which is not happy, right? So we are absorbing energy. So I'll give you a real amazing trick, and if the parents are here, you can use it in school, in your office, wherever you want to use it. So just take your body and move your solar plexus out of direct communication with that person. So all you need to do is sit on the chair, or if you're standing, just turn like that. So what happens when that energy points hit you, okay, they get diverted. The arrows get diverted. You don't absorb inside you.
Absolutely.
You see? So that's what you, and of course, there are so many more tools which I'm happy to share, but obviously can't share them all. These are all parts of the program, but this is a trick. So it just deflects. Shoulder will deflect the energy. And you don't need, the other person doesn't even need to know. So one is grow your power, grow in energy.
And how
Fill the
exactly can you use these ideas, your body, to deal with such situations?
Your body is so intelligent. It knows what to do. It knows what to do. We just don't trust it.
Absolutely.
We don't trust it. For instance, um, if you eat something, okay, most of the people, what do they say? So what is the first thing we do? And please respond, everybody, when we lose something. What is the first instinct that we do when we lose something?
We panic.
We panic, and then we go looking for it, right?
Yes.
We go to find it, right? But everybody wants to lose weight.
Absolutely.
But if you lose it, the first instinct is go and find it because we want it back, right? So that is the power of how we think. So what we have to do is we have to just reach our own best ideal weight. We don't have to lose anything. So don't lose yourself. Stay in your power. Breathe in. Grow yourself big. And become this huge person that you believe yourself to be. Because you're so much more than just a physical body.
Absolutely. And Rashmi, though I know we are almost finishing the time that we have, but then, if you have a couple of minutes extra for us, and if you may allow me, can I just push those questions towards you?
Please, please.
Now, there's a question which is very, generic but need of the hour. How important is a social environment for our lives?
Okay, first, it's very important because we are social animals. But in order to not struggle or suffer from the social environment or the lack of, what you have to do is you have to become best friends with yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a perfect opportunity to go and discover who you are. What is your emotion? What do you feel? How do you think? What you say? So the moment you understand yourself better, you will then be able to balance the equation. If you become your best friend, okay, you're never lonely in life. And these current situations have made a lot of people lonely, and depression hits, and all of that happens. So my suggestion would just be to become best friends with yourself. And it's a perfect time to discover who you are.
Absolutely. And there's another interesting question before we culminate this session. It's by Anushri Saxena, and she's asking, life brings unfair and unfavorable situations to us. We try to fight it out and establish what we want. There comes a point in time when it's you versus life. This feeling is exhausting and traumatic. What should we do in such situation? Should we surrender everything onto the universe?
Great question. So first and foremost, any fight, okay, when we are swimming against the tide, okay, the water will eventually throw us on the shore. But that fight will leave us tired. And we are not ready to then ride the next wave. So we have to stop the fighting. And like I said, when we were talking about law of attraction, what is happening on the outside is a reflection of what is happening on the inside. So if everything is unfair, then so be it. It is what it is. You just take it. You just visualize it and you say, well, this is what it is. I don't want this in my life. But I'm not going to blame anyone. I can take accountability. Today, I know a little bit more about energy. I know a little bit more about vibration. So I'm not going to just wither away and keep fighting this, because the more I fight, the more tired I'll get. And then the next thing that comes will, even if it is good, it is unfair, because then we get into this poor me. So don't ask why me. Change your question to what now. Okay? Because why is like going down the rabbit hole. Because I can give you an answer to every why. The rabbit hole keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. But if you stop asking why and start asking what, then you take accountability. I want you to drive your own car. Take accountability. What now? Okay, this has happened. It's not fair. Life is like that. It's not fair for you. It's not fair for so many. But I'm not going to succumb to it. I don't have to fight it either. I have to navigate it. I have to go through it, right? So you navigate through that journey. And there are lots of tools which you can collect on the way. There's a lot of information available to be able to, just practice small tools, and you'll start to get powerful. How you speak to yourself, how you work.
Then there's one last question that I'm taking from the audience here.
Go ahead. I'm okay if they are okay. I'm fine.
That is very sweet of you. And it says, if life doesn't go according to us or not in favor of us, even if we tend to make it all right, what can we do to make this work?
So, sorry, repeat the last bit again, Dharna, please.
The question goes like this, that life may not be in favor of what we want. It must not be going as per we want it to be. Then how can we make things still work?
Okay, it's quite simple. You just need to know that if it's not going in that direction, it's probably not meant to. If a door closes, then either the same door will open or use another door. That's the nature of the door. And if it has closed on you at this point in time, okay, you see, our vision is this and this periphery, correct? We are looking at this 180-degree vision, right? What we are not looking at is the other 180, which is behind us. That is where the universe works. Now, if this was to work, then whatever is happening behind us, we have no idea. How many times do we all say, oh my God, thank God that didn't happen, because if that had happened, I wouldn't have this opportunity today. Correct? Because all universe is doing is delivering what you want. And it is not happening as per your plan, because we control nothing. But we have to be aware that there is another 180, there's a full life behind us at a 180-degree angle, which we are not even aware, because we are seeing from our eyes, we are looking up ahead, but we are not looking around. So emotional intelligence and combining everything together, that is what I do. That is the wholeness of it. Your spirit, your soul, your emotion, the vibration is all around you. But if you just focus like this, a horse with blinders, you miss everything else. So whilst it's not working right now, trust me, there's a whole world around where it'll work. And for law of attraction, try this beautiful experiment, which everybody can do at home. It's really fun. And if you have the time, I'll explain it very quickly. And I think you'll be able to find a YouTube link somewhere as well. So, we all make rice in the house. So from the same pot one day, take two containers, glass containers, and from the same pot, the same amount of rice you put in both the containers, equal amounts. And you put them probably 5-10 feet away from each other. And on one, put a little note and say, I love you, blessings to you, and I care about you. And on the other one, you write a note and say, I hate you, you're disgusting, you make me feel sick, and all the nasty things. And stick those post-its. And every time you cross, okay, literally feel that emotion and talk to that container, whatever you've written, and observe how the rice deteriorates. And then we've done that with plants as well. If you talk to the plants, they grow different, they grow better. And there are many such experiments we can all do at home, just to understand how much power we have within us, which we fail to use. And imagine if you could bring all of that out, you would create a life of magic. That's abracadabra. We create as we speak.
Absolutely.
Spelling. And also the word spelling, when you speak, what are you doing? Spelling. You're casting a spell on your life.
That's a beautiful analogy.
So that's what you do. So you are masters. We are all born masters. We are no less than another. But the difference is how we navigate, how we bring our energy together, and how powerful we can become from inside out. Life is not about struggle at all. Life is about flow. We don't flow. We think we manage everything, we control everything. We don't.
Absolutely brilliant. And Rashmi, you have just made us, want more. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure that very soon we'll be scheduling another session for you, because the response has been overwhelming. I mean,
Oh, I'm so glad.
and the questions itself, they reflect how they have left children, parents, and staff thinking about it. And when I talk about all three components of our school, and it has been a constant endeavor at modern school to try and infuse the holistic well-being of children as well as academics. This has
It
been
is,
our
yeah,
motive. It has always
so
been that.
important. Yeah.
And that is why I will be asking just one final question, which is on the behalf of all the parents, the teachers, the students, the entire school, the learner community. That is, and which I am drawing from your website, that is, blissful holistic being. How do you see helping our children, their parents, and the teachers reaching this point?
Oh, it is everything I do. It's all created. So I've got this whole, like I was told you at the initial bit, I've got this huge toolkit, okay, which I've collected over the past 20 years or so, okay, and I've segregated into little areas, and each one has quick, easy to do tools. And the most important is I work with unlearning. You see, ages 0 to 7 in our life create the software that we have. 0 to 7. And 7 onwards, we just refer to that software. So we upgrade our software on our phones the moment we get a notification, but we haven't upgraded our own software. So environment is so important, and environment has created our our software. And if there is fault, which there is, and it's nobody's fault, we all have faults in our software. There are bugs over the years. So it's about time to unlearn all of that and go to the next level. So the way I work is all of these tools are used in my deprogramming. So life is more about unlearning than learning. So as you open the layers, you start to unlearn. It's like an onion. You keep peeling the layers one after the other, and you say, this doesn't serve me, this belief system doesn't serve me, this doesn't serve me, and I'm going to think differently.
Absolutely. And with that, Rashmi, we absolutely assure you that not only the children and the parents and teachers, every one of us will be working on our software upgrades from now
Please,
on.
please, absolutely. That would be a pleasure.
Rashmi,
Yes.
on a parting note, one piece of advice that you would like to leave for our children, for our parents, for our
That's just that you matter, you're enough, and you're perfect. You know, but none of us are imperfect. And that I say from this point, if you believe in a God, and if you believe that your God is perfect, and I don't care what you call that God, okay? If you think your God is perfect, that means whatever your God does is perfect. And if you think you are his creation, then either he is not good enough, he's created you, that means he would create nothing less than perfect. And if you believe that you're imperfect, then either change the definition of your God or change your belief.
I believe this advice should be passed on to everybody who is a learning intellectual in today's times. We really need to unlearn certain things and learn a new stuff altogether. So on that note, Rashmi, thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. Modern School is delighted to have associated itself with you. It is always a pleasure to have such, thinking brilliant individuals coming across in our webinar series and share their bits and, pearls of wisdom actually, because as you said yourself, that wisdom is nothing but just your experience that you share with others, right? And on that note, I would like to thank you so much for sparing time for us, for our children, for our parents, and I hope you stay safe and fine in the current times, and we hope to host you soon in person.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me. I love the questions, and if there's anything I can help you with going forward, feel free.
From what we can see, the response for today's session, I think we are going to be doing a Rashmi 2.0 very soon.
2.2, and then we talk about the versions. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rashmi, and I wish you a very pleasant day ahead.
I wish
Thank
you
you
all
so
of
much,
you.
and thank you everyone on behalf of Modern School for attending this amazing session with Rashmi Badhwar, and I hope you all are going to channelize your energy field tonight. Thank you so much.
Great. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you.